Here's a dictionary definition of eugenics. Noun, the science of improving a human population by controlled breeding to increase the occurrence of desirable heritable characteristics. Developed largely by Francis Galton as a method of improving the human race, it fell into disfavor only after the perversion of its doctrines by the Nazis. We already practice eugenics because we don't allow people to have sex with their immediate family members because inbreeding causes physical and mental retardation of the offspring. That is a medical problem. So we don't allow incest because inbreeding is bad. Eugenically, we don't allow pedophilia to exist. Everybody has a age of consent. California, it's 18. Most of the South, it's like 16. Most of the United States is 16. Your opinion on it doesn't really matter. It's 16 in most states. It's like 14 in a lot of countries. It's like 12 in a lot of countries. Not having knowledge of something is not an excuse. Your opinion on it doesn't matter. If you're rude, bye. Locking the door. Because you have to be able to have an adult conversation with me in order for me to have a conversation with you. So we already practice eugenics. That doesn't make it a fascist doctrine. If you're somebody that advocates for interracialism in order to create more mixed race children, you're of a scientific basis for supporting eugenics. And that makes sense. If you're somebody that will not date another race other than your own race, you're a racist. It doesn't matter what your opinion is on it. You're a racist and you're a bad person. I can completely see the reason why I would want to date outside of the Caucasian race, if you can call it a race. Well, for the most part, white women are rude. The only women that I really think are polite are mixed race and brown people. There's bad people within every group, but like within the groups that I've met, there's either brown people, white people, or mixed race people, and I would much rather breed with people who are mixed race or brown skinned. White people are just straight up hostile towards me. Like, I've met Christians and I've dated Christians, agnostics, atheists, women that are much, much older than me and my own age. And all of them were white and all of them were rude. My age gap relationship lasted longer and was my best relationship. But I'm never going to do that again because I've already had women in my life that are older than me, and I've already had women in my life that I've dated that have been my own age. So I'm not going to do that anymore. And you already know the reasons why. Eugenics is just trying to make things better. It doesn't naturally attach itself to right-wing philosophy any more than nihilism does. Nihilism, when Nietzsche was proposing nihilism, had nothing to do with right-wing politics. It was used in a way that was destructive by the Nazis, and it was used in a way that was creative by punk rock. So I don't want to hear any bullshit about how eugenics is a right-wing philosophy. And I don't really consider intergenerational breeding to be eugenics. And if it is, well, it's no more destructive than mixed race breeding because mixed race breeding has nothing to do with right-wing politics. The people that will like try to chastise you for trying to put eugenics out there as a benevolent thing are right-wingers themselves, and they just want people on their side. people out there that are like saying that it's okay to say that Republicans are retards, or that anybody's a retard as an insult, or gay as an insult, to me come off like they're pretending to be left wing in order to discredit the left wing. I'm not really into people who use retard as an insult or gay as an insult. You could say those words, but if you're not just using them to define what those words mean, you need to apologize. And I think that has a large part to do with the fact that the telomeres in our brains and bodies have been getting shorter since 1912. Probably more so since the Industrial Revolution. So if it's eugenics, it's eugenics. But if you attach right wing to it, you and I can't have a conversation because you've already come in with a presumption that is untrue. Go look up intergenerational breeding. Go look up interracial breeding. Look at the stuff on the fertility and fecundity of young women and the fecundity of men between like 38 and 53-ish, like early 50s, late 30s. Look into that. If you've got contradictory stuff, I want something that's newer than 2019, because I already have the 2019 evidence from Dan Eisenberg at the UW, and plenty of stuff on mice and long telomeres in mice from October of 2019, and plenty of stuff that I've already put out there in the videos. So if you're not watching the videos, well, then that's your own problem. If you're watching the videos in order to dislike them, you deserve all the pain you get, because I don't go into the territories of people that give me migraine headaches. To do that makes me a sad, angry person who has migraine headaches. So, don't harass me. I'm not going to harass you. If you harass me, then I'm going to come back and harass you. If I can legally get away with harassing you, I'll harass you. If you harass me, I'm going to try my best to legally harass you. And you're right, you kind of have to be polite to people that you don't like. I watched a Russell Brand video on that, and he's kind of a non-religious Christian. He understands things like Christ consciousness, and I understand that as someone who understands a little bit of what it means to be a scientist and a little bit of what it means to be an anti-theist. He's basically just saying you have to show kindness to people in order to be happy. And I understand that. I like him when he's doing his comedy, and I like him when he's just doing his sort of like inspirational speaking. Kind of like with Henry Rollins, when he's doing his inspirational speaking and when he's doing his comedy. If you're laughing at the inspirational stuff and not liking the comedy stuff, that's on you. I do stuff all the time that I consider to be comedy, and there are people that come up to me and say, that's good comedy. But if they say that I'm a troll, that's a problem with their telomeres. They're obviously not very empathetic. There are people out there that are like, oh, great, a comedian. Well, do you go up to cops and say, oh, great, a cop? Or waiters and say, oh, great, a waiter? Well, stop being rude. That's probably why your girlfriend pulls you aside and looks at you like you're her child. Or why guys won't date you. And I think that has a large part to do with our telomeres getting short. So I'm saying that if you want eugenics, well, that's fine. But if you attach it to right-wing ideology, you've already misunderstood what eugenics means. Because we already practice eugenics. Most people don't breed with dudes over 60. Most people don't breed with chicks under 18. Most people don't breed with people with HIV or that have cocaine addictions or crack addictions. That's all eugenics. If you're breeding with somebody that had something wrong with them, that's all eugenics in reverse. If you want to avoid having a kid with bipolar and you're bipolar, well, then you have to breed with somebody that isn't mentally ill. So I have bipolar, and if I have a kid, there's a 10% chance if I breed with somebody that does not have a mental illness, my kid will have mental illness 10% of the time. But if I'm mentally ill, if I have bipolar, if that's true, then if I breed with somebody else that has bipolar or any other mental illness, then there's a 50% chance that my kid will have mental illness. So me practicing eugenics in that I don't want to breed with somebody that has a mental health disorder, that cuts the chance of my kid being mentally ill by a large margin. So I'm not going to date somebody that I'm not going to have kids with. And something like 2/3 of people that are out there in the world, even among Zoomers and millennials, want to have kids. So don't come at me about your problem. You talking to me about your problem makes me kind of think that you are talking to yourself. When you're asking questions of me that, like, why are you so sexist? Really, you're talking to yourself. I'm not sexist. The problem is age phobia. It has nothing to do with sexism. You're obviously not very intelligent. So, me wanting to date somebody that's not white is because I have a problem with rude people. And have you ever dated somebody that wasn't white? Well, then if you're going to accuse me of being a sexist, then I'm going to accuse you of being a racist. You need to prove all claims to me. Unless it's protecting somebody, you know. If you're like out there doing good, or you're a bad person when people presume you're a good person, and you're out there hiding your identity in order to talk shit about people, you're a bad person and you don't want people to know that you're a bad person, I understand why you would want to keep your secret. The fact that you have to be diskind to people shows that your pain that you have in your life and your struggles are entirely your own fault. Because people that do not practice kindness have health issues. And that's why I don't allow comments on the posts, is because me having to look at that gives me a physical headache. Gives me a migraine. I won't go to like TikTok because I don't want the comments. Because if I read that stuff, I'm going to come down with symptoms like a cold and a flu. I'm going to get depression. And I'm going to start throwing up. And it won't be pretty, and my head will hurt, and I'm not really into doing that. So if you come into my territory and don't like me, expect pain. Because when I go into your territories where I don't like you, I experience great amounts of pain. So if you come into my territory and you don't like me, you're going to experience pain. That's on you. I know it's like to sit there and read a bunch of bullshit on the internet about myself that I have already addressed and already feel bad enough about, and have been forced to feel way worse about it than I should. I understand why Ed Sheeran doesn't like Twitter anymore. I understand why Ariel Winter doesn't really like Twitter anymore, because the people on Twitter are often rude. And I think that like turning off the dislike would be a viable option on YouTube, but they don't allow that. They don't have really the dislike on Facebook. A lot of times I'll post things that makes me laugh, and the people will comment with a cry react, and I'll have to tell them this was meant to be funny and you didn't understand it. That's on you. It doesn't matter if like 50 people don't like me, or 100 people, or 1,000,000 people don't like me. It doesn't matter. Because the more that I say like or dislike this post conveys that you like this post, you're just the one that's foolish, and that's a product of your short telomeres. I'm not here to answer questions about me. If you want questions about me answered, go on a date with me. I don't care who you are. I don't care how much money you give me. I don't care how much of your time. I have a question for you. Have you ever dated somebody who wasn't white? Well, okay, why are you a racist? If you would have, then your opinion doesn't matter. It would have created mixed race children, which are healthier. Our difference of viewpoints is not a difference of an opinion. It's a difference of fact versus opinion. I have the facts and you have anecdotes and opinions means that I don't need to listen to you. You're an age phobe. Most of the people that I meet that are like fucking like 18 don't like me, or they like me. If they don't like me and they don't understand what I say about telomeres, if they don't find that interesting, then we can't have a conversation about them because I'm not interested in their bullshit. I presented science. If you agree, then we can talk. If not, then we can't talk. And there's plenty of people that agree with me. I don't need to prove that. Prove they don't. I don't see a badge. I don't see your degree. I don't see you drinking good beer. I don't see you liking anybody with a beard. Maybe that's your problem. Maybe that's why we need some eugenics, because you're vicious and you think your opinions are facts. I think my opinions are based in fact, and I think that you're just a parrot and a tool. So maybe we need a little eugenics. It's got nothing to do with politics. As a matter of fact, Francis Galton was left-wing, and he's the one who proposed the idea of eugenics.